With nothing in particular to do, we head to the Rising Stones to see how the Archons fare. Krile has been keeping up with the treatment thus far, and has stabilized their ether for the time being. All that's left to do is hope that they have brought enough time for G'raha to find a solution. Maxima has journeyed to the Rising Stone to speak with us. Vauban wishes us to be present in a meeting which will discuss the current standings of Garlemald after everything that has happened. This meeting is being held in the Alamegan Royal Palace. The person who is revealing this information about Garlemald is none other than Gaius Balzar. He confirmed that Estinian did in fact face a recreation of Ultima. The Allagan monstrosity was being researched by the 7th Imperial Legion, a legion who was once headed by Nail von Darnus. They were long thought to be annihilated at the Cartanu Flats. Nobody knows who runs the legion as of right now. All we do know is that a prototype is heading straight for Eorzea, and we are to aid them if the time allows it. As it happens, time doesn't allow it. This plot continues into the Ruby Weapon saga in Shadowbringer, which won't be covered in this video. As ever, the way forward is paved with difficult decisions we cannot afford to ignore. We are to go to the First and appraise our friends on everything that we have learned. Many unpleasant surprises are appearing on the source whilst they aren't present. They need to find a way back home with haste. To that end, Beq Lugg and Urian J have created a container to place their souls and minds into, a more refined version of white auracite, keeping all the same properties that come with it. However, they do not know how to transfer mind and soul into it. They need to imbue it with G'raha's gift, the blood of Allagan royals. They will be laboring to investigate how exactly to do that. No matter what it takes, he will see everyone safely home. Our meeting is interrupted by Lena. She wishes to speak to us outside. We bring Alphino along with us as they have enough hands working on their spirit vessel as it is. It seems like a Sin-Eater has returned to Lakeland. Only a single Sin-Eater. The guard can handle one Sin-Eater, but she wants us to fight alongside them. Peace can make them complacent, and by following our example, they could learn a thing or two about not underestimating your foe. We move over to Fort Job and meet the rest of the guard, and together we make way for the location of the Sin-Eater. But when we arrive, it is already slain. A man came out of nowhere and slew it before anyone even noticed he arrived. The funny thing is, this person refers to themselves as a warrior of light. Something nobody should want their name to be associated with. No matter what we know about Ardbert and the others, the rest of the world only knows that they caused the flood. We were about to return to the Crystarium, but Lena stops us. She wishes to speak to us about something personal and private. It is about the Exarch. Normally the Exarch is unconcerned by the prospect of his own death, but ever since he returned from the Tempest, the opposite is true. As he labors, there is a certain glint in his eye. It's as if he is able to see that the future holds such joy. She is happy to see him like this, but she worries that she will only anchor him to the past, remind him of all the pain that came before. We tell her, anchors keep us where we have chosen to be. Once she hears these words, we can see the relief rush over her face, as if a weight had just been lifted. She thanks us for our counsel, and we continue back to the Crystarium. Alphino has an idea. He has been searching through the tomes in the Cabinet of Curiosity, and noticed that every recount mentioning the Warriors of Light likens them to Sin-Eaters. He wishes to update the civilians' knowledge of what we know, to tell them their tale, and spread the word of all the good the Warriors of Light did, and how Ardbert helped us in our time of need. The civilians are willing to listen to our new testimony, as they are also interested to hear what truly happened to the Warriors of Light. It falls to us to recount their tale. They started out as simple adventurers, and formed a band to help the people of the First. They fought against an agent of darkness, and won. They believed that they brought back peace for all. Instead, they doomed them. The equilibrium between light and dark was shattered, eventually causing the flood. To save their dying world, they trusted the words of Ul'dah and took their lives to travel to the source in search of us. They were told that slaying us and causing an umbral calamity would save their world. In our final battle, we beseeched Hydaelyn to save their world, and in return, she sent Minfilia along with them to halt the flood. All of Ardbert's comrades gave up their lives to do so, except he was denied his sacrifice. He was left all alone for a century, until we were called by G'raha to the First. Ever since then, he had accompanied us on our journey, and in our direst moments, he offered up his soul to stop the primordial light from consuming our being, and together, we defeated Emmet Selk, saving the First now and forever. The Warriors of Light were true heroes. They gave up everything they could to save the First, and in return, the people cursed their names. The people are understandably confused and regret all the wrong they have done to their names. Behind the crowd, we see Ardbert. Alphinaud notices him too, and is as shocked as we are. It seems like this time they are able to see Ardbert as well, but the Ardbert we know is dead and gone. This Ardbert addresses the people. He tells them that he is a warrior of light from a bygone era. The will of the star has seen to resurrect him, for him to tell the people what they need to know. One day, the warriors of darkness will return to their world. When we are gone, if we want this land to remain their home, they must rise up and become warriors of light. All they need to do is have the will to aid their fellow man and the resolve to follow it through. His words resonate with the people. If we were to say anything against them, it might make the crowd uneasy. Instead, we return to the Ocular to speak about it privately. Alphinaud will stay here and keep watch. This Ardbert may look and sound like him, but it isn't him. The Ardbert we knew had entrusted his soul to us, and our ether radiates as strongly as it did when we first became one. There is only one other being we know in this world that would puppeteer a dead body, the Ascians, and there is only one single, unsundered Ascian remaining to continue their modus operandi, Ul'dah. But why does he try to rally the people to become warriors of light? That is the only part we cannot make sense of. We need to gather more information so we can make the right judgment. To that end, with the Light Warden gone, the Viera of Fenno have reclaimed the hunting ground near Rak'tika Falls and have discovered new ruins that lay nearby the mural of the Ascians' past. If there is any knowledge to be found, it is to be found here. We follow the Viera to the ruin. There is a statue here that is a beast unlike any other. It looks extremely lifelike. Sitting behind it lies a sealed door. On one pedestal, there is an owl statue. On the other, there is nothing. Yumet grabs the statue that was sitting next to the beast, and this causes its skin to return to normal. It teleports all of us away and makes us prove our worth, as only heroes can enter that room. It makes us answer a few riddles and does battle with us. Upon its defeat, we are brought back to that room, and the door is open. Inside the door is a tomb of the strongest mage in Ronkan history, Archmage Tiuna. Written under her mural is, "By the light of fallen stars, great power awakens." It was also said that she had the power of the echo, which isn't just a coincidence. There have been times where a shower of stars have caused those who witnessed it to awaken to latent power. The scene depicted on the mural is similar to the scenes Emmet showed us in his recreation of the final days. Is it possible that such a scene left an imprint on our souls so deep that it could be perceived eons later if given a suitable trigger? This may be the right of it, but it is still pure speculation at this point. While gazing at this mural, all we can think about is the final days, and the final words Emmett said to us. Remember us. Remember that we once lived. We will do everything we can to keep his truth alive. Otherwise, it shall die with him and his kin. We shouldn't disturb Tuana anymore, and we move back to Fano. We say goodbye to the Vieira sisters and leave for Sliverbow, as Yustola has to attend to a small matter. Not too long after dealing with that, Alphino managed to find us out here. He tracked Ardbert to Rak'tika Greatwood. He moves to every corner of Norvrand to spread the truth of the Warriors of Light. To get the people to believe his words, he slays a nearby Sinita for all to see. That is why we have brought Thancred and Reen along. Reen can find the Sinita and slay it before he can. This will give us time to finally confront him. All we have to do is wait until Elidibus comes. He is still playing up the Ardbert act. To break his lie apart, we raise our fist, just like we used to do back when he was a spirit. Instead of reciprocating it, he asks if our arm is tired. That was all we needed to know. This is truly Elidibus. He casts aside all pretense, as he didn't need to fool us. He is here to continue the Convocation's will, regardless of what Emmett said to us in his final moments.
How very unlike you to err so gravely. That one should stray at the end of so onerous a path is understandable. But I had thought you above such weakness. Mayhap you thought the same. Would that I had been present to offer correction. But I shall do so now, as is my duty, and return all to its proper course. As for you, look at yourselves. Look at your history. Look back 100 short years to how your greatest warriors were undone. And now, at but a word from me, you raise your hands in answer like the puppets you are. Naught has changed. You fail, and you fail, and you learn nothing. Allow that which is most important to slip through your fumbling fingers like so many grains of sand, again and again and again, and you would remember us. You do forget yourselves. There is no common ground to be found between you and I, nor do I require any. I have my duty.
Wait!
Elidibus leaves through his dark rift. It is clear that his goal is the rejoining, but we still do not understand his plan. Maybe it is time to have another visit to the Tempest. It could shed some light upon the mysteries presented to us. We speak to the chieftain of the Ondo, and he has seen some ruins that might give us what we need. They were a recent discovery, and nobody has set foot in there except for the rival faction of the Ondo, the Benfos. They are making ready to attack Calusia, and are hoping to find supplies in the ruins that will aid that cause. We aren't one to attack first, but a show of strength may be all it takes to stop more bloodshed. To reach these ruins, we are to beseech Bismarck once more. He will help us, but asks for time to cleanse his body and asks us to meet him in Calusia. Together we dive into the Tempest, aiming straight for the Anamnesis Anyder. Deep in the Tempest, deeper still than the phantom Amarot of Emmett Selk's design, lies what remains of Ander's ancient edifices. It is to an unexplored corner of this bed of knowledge that the Scions now travel, in hopes that what has long slumbered forgotten may be brought to the surface once more. We do battle with numerous sea creatures, the Benfos, and more importantly, unknown horrors created by the ancients left behind in this place. It is said that man fears what he does not know, which makes the unknown all the more horrifying. a ruin of flesh and bone, mangled teeth and sunken eyes. None can say for certain whence this odious creature came, but perhaps we are better off for not knowing the unknown of the unknown. Eventually, we slay the Benthos queen, Rukushtim, and are free to look around the facility. A device behind us activates, and suddenly, a memory appears before us. We are surrounded by ancients of the past. They have gathered here today to speak of Zodiac. His summoning has granted them a brief reprise, but it will not halt the coming doom. The convocation isn't willing to listen to their pleas. They look to their leader, Venat, to hear what she has to say about this. She too realizes it is only a temporary solution, and in return, she has a plan. Only if they are willing to be eternally condemned by their own brethren for all eternity. Together, they will bring about the light to keep the dark in check. We just witnessed the group of ancients who devised to summon Hydaelyn. We have never heard of the name Venat, not even from Emmet, but what we can assume is that this place was once their headquarters. Otherwise, it wouldn't be privy to such intimate memories. Y'shtola moves over to the device and fiddles with it. She is determined to find out what other secrets it may hold. Another memory appears. It is between two of the ancients. One of them is begging Venat to not go through with it. Of all the people to do it, it shouldn't be her. Her rebuttal is that she is the only one with enough strength to stand against him as her heart. The other ancient won't pry any further, and remarks that this must be how the convocation felt about Elidibus, alluding to the fact that Elidibus sacrificed himself to become Zodiac's heart. Y'shtola attempts to reactivate the device, but it is not responding. The glow that once encased its structure is gone. We are to assume it ran out of power. It was lucky it even functioned at all. We now have more unanswered questions than when we came here. We need more information. Therefore, she is going to stay down here and work on this device. The rest of us move from the Tempest to the surface. While she is busy with her investigation, we are to go to the Crystarium and see how the Exarch and Beq Lugg are progressing on the spirit vessel. The scene at the Crystarium is one we weren't expecting. An extraordinary amount of people have gathered outside of the Crystal Tower, and the Exarch is trying to speak with everyone present. All the people here wish to leave their jobs and pursue a life of helping others. They have only the best intentions in their hearts, but it doesn't bode well for the city. They need at least a minimum number of vocations accounted for, otherwise the city won't function. We cannot tell these people that the path they walk is wrong, yet we cannot allow Elidibus's plan to continue without so much as a challenge. Our gaze is drawn to the sky as we can hear thunder in the distance. The clouds are moving rapidly, covering the midday sun. From the new sky, a bright light radiates forth. A star shower rains down to the ground below. The people panic, and suddenly they start to hear something while staring at this scene. Hear, feel, think. Ardbert joins the commotion. Just as he arrives, the sky above disperses as quickly as it came. It was as if it was never there to begin with. He confirms that the voice they hear proves that they are warriors of light. He attempts to take his leave, but we confront him. He tells us that the star shower was his doing. It was an illusion to awaken the little bit of power left within our sundered souls. Even though the men of today are blind to their past, they cannot ignore what has been etched into their souls. The faintest recollection of the final days. The echo isn't a gift granted to her chosen. The echo is a latent power needed to even hear Hydaelyn's call. Her voice is an echo from a long-begotten past, and she would do the same illusion Elidibus did whenever she needed more allies, and bestowed to all that could hear it the blessing of light. There is one part we cannot understand about this whole thing. Why would he want Hydaelyn, his foe, to gain strength by creating more warriors of light? Elidibus's response is very intriguing.
Foe? You must be mistaken. As you see, I am a warrior of light, and together with my comrades in arms, I shall save the world. Just like you.
We cannot make sense of his plan, and will have to rely on Y'shtola's research if we are to truly understand. In the meantime, G'raha and Beq will continue to work on the vessel. In terms of progress, they are close to understanding the principles that make it work. As for the practicals, however, the vessel isn't taking form. That doesn't mean that they have given up hope. They have more methodologies to try and will not cease until they have delivered the Scions home. To ease G'raha's burden, Alphinaud will make sure the Crystarium stays running. Urianger will assist in their research wherever he can, and Thancred will do what he does best and tail Elidibus from the shadows. Everyone else has their own job to do, and as for us, we are told to rest in the pendants, so we can gather our strength for the battle to come. We are in our room late at night, and awake to the sudden urge to grab a drink. Suddenly we hear a knock at our door. Apparently, we have a visitor at this time of night. We decide to let them in. Okay, look, I get it. We haven't covered the role quest for Shadowbringers, and I promise you that one day we will. But it won't be soon. So you're going to be confused as to who this character is. All I'll say is that he is a focal point of the tank role quest, along with Ardbert's comrade Brandon. Granson has been gone ever since we slew the Cardinal Virtue and set free Brandon. He has noticed that the Crystarium he once knew is a little different, so he decided to seek us out, as who better to ask for information on the city. We revealed to him everything that has happened since he left. He cannot help but feel like the situation with the Ascian is very similar to the situation we dealt with prior, an entity puppeteering a hero's body. He questions if we are going to do anything, because if we aren't, then he will. But this is our hunt, our prey. We will not allow Elidibus to sully Ardbert's name any longer. He is satisfied with our answer and takes his leave. His departing words remind us that if we need to rely on his strength at all, he'll be there. Meanwhile, in the Crystal Tower's Umbilicus, another practical, another failure. They may need to find a way to infuse the vessel with its blood instead. The sound of cracking crystal can be heard, and G'raha grabs his crystallized arm in pain. These experiments are exerting him more than he'd like, but he is stubborn and will not stop until they are successful. We see the scene of Amarot's end. Zenas is walking through the city as ancients run away in fear. He awakes from that dream. The white-robed figure from before is here and wishes to know what his dream was about. Zenas reveals that he dreamt about the city set ablaze, its population being consumed by endless hellfire. To which the Ascian is surprised. Almost nobody has memories of the final days, except the Unsundered. Does he wish to know more about it? About the end of the world?